Coming up, Russian forces. Russia launches a raid on Kyiv. Boris Johnson will meet NATO leaders in the next hour to discuss the next response.
ITV Lunchtime News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good afternoon. On a day of fast-moving developments in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, at around 4 o'clock this morning, the city woke to sounds of blasts, injuring civilians and damaging buildings. The Ukrainian government say in total 140 people have been killed. In preparation of what could be to come, it has banned all Ukrainian men aged between 18 and 60 from leaving the country. Well, let's look at what we know so far about a terrifying and worrying situation for anyone living in Kyiv who until just yesterday morning were living in a peaceful European capital city. In the last 24 hours, thousands of people have been seen leaving the capital. Earlier I spoke to Roman Vibranovsky in the queue trying to get out. I began by asking him how he and his family are doing. Of course, hearing of reports of Russian troops advancing, certainly around Kiev and earlier on this morning through the city. What are you able to hear and see from where you are? So seeing pictures, Roman, of buildings that have been struck in airstrikes. So we know that more than 30 civilian buildings have been hit. I mean, this must be incredibly worrying for you to hear. This is why people are desperately trying to get out of Kyiv now. Well, we thank you so much for talking to us. We wish you and your family the very Roman Vibranovsky there speaking to me earlier. Now, in the next half hour, NATO leaders will meet about the unfolding situation in Ukraine. In a moment, we'll get the latest from Washington. But first to Washington now, and our US. Well, this morning, Russia banned British Airlines from landing at its airports or crossing its airspace. The move follows some of the sanctions the UK has imposed. A reminder, the latest pictures on Ukraine and updates on a fast-moving situation are on our website. Head over to itv.com/news. Well, there's been swift reaction to events in Ukraine from the world of sport. UEFA confirming this morning the Champions League final will no longer be staged in St. Petersburg in Russia. Amy Lewis is here. Amy, what are the details on this?
Well, this morning, UEFA held the end that deal.
And Amy, it's not just UEFA taking action, is it?
No, in the last hour, Manchi, they say it had to be cancelled.
Well, Ukrainians living here can only watch in horror at what is happening in Ukraine, trying to contact relatives just a 3-hour flight away from the UK, but a country now very much under an unprovoked military invasion. There were prayers this morning held in Manchester among one of the UK's oldest Ukrainian communities. Sangeeta Kandola reports. Let's return to the situation in Kyiv now, and I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Raghi Omar. Raghi, the situation is certainly escalating quickly. What hope now for Kyiv and the people there?
Well, Minister Sergei Lavrov, which I understand is being a standing army in to major city earlier, is the Ukrainian leadership decapitated because...
And that is where we leave it this lunchtime. In the early hours of this morning, next, we will, of course, have all the very latest on events in Ukraine and the ITV Evening News at 6:30. A reminder, too, to head over to our website, itv.com/news, for more updates. The news where you are follows the national weather. But for now, from everyone here and in Ukraine, thank you. Bye-bye. Hello again. Now the main stories in London. And the Mayor of London is calling on the government to seize properties in the capital owned by Russian oligarchs. Transport for London has been handed a further £200 million in government funding. The Metropolitan Police are starting a walk and talk scheme to help women in the capital feel safer. And the O2 reopens tonight following repair works after Storm Eunice. The venue will be... All right, time for the weather now. Here's Amanda. And that's all from us for now. We are back here at 6. Until then, enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.